සුබ උදෑසනක් සියලුම දෙනාට. පන්සිල් සමාදන්වීම සඳහා තෙවරක් නමස්කාර පාඨය සජ්ජායනය කරන්න.
තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස
බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
ဒုတိယံ පි බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
ဒုတိယံ පි බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
ဒုတိယံ පි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
ဒုတိယံ පි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
ဒုတိယံ පි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
ဒုတိယံ පි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
တတိယံ පි බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
တတိယံ පි බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
တတိယံ පි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
တတိယံ පි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
တတိယံ පි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
တတိယံ පි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි.
පාණාති පාතා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
පාණාති පාතා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
අදින්නා දාන වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
අදින්නා දාන වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
කාමේසු මිච්ඡාචාරා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
කාමේසු මිච්ඡාචාරා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
මුසාවාදා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
මුසාවාදා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
සුරාමේරය මජ්ජපමා දට්ඨානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
සුරාමේරිය මජ්ජපමා දට්ඨානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Well, good morning. Theruvan Saranai. So it's not easy being a householder. So many responsibilities, so many duties, things we have to do. So once again, this is our opportunity to meet, to come together, to put our responsibilities aside. The Buddha talks about two types of seclusion or two types of withdrawal. Kaya viveka, chitta viveka. So kaya viveka, withdrawn, we could say bodily. What does that mean? Coming to a suitable place like this, away from the household, away from the distractions, we could say the apparent or the gross external distractions, responsibilities, duties. So we go to a quiet place, a calm and quiet place, secluded from all these inputs. But that doesn't mean that we might not be distracted in thought, even though we've come to a place like this. the tendency of the mind is to be thinking about all of those things, thinking about all the things I have to do, all the duties. Oh, I forgot to do this, or oh, I should have done that, or I need to do this, I need to do that. So this is not being withdrawal in mind, chitta viveka. So that's why the Buddha talks about two types of withdrawal. Coming to a suitable place like this, and then turning away from these types of thoughts, at least for this period of time that we are here together, for this 2 hours. So that's what we're here to do. We set up that intention at the beginning. Why are we here? Why did you come here? You gave up your time to come here because it's valuable, because we see the value in looking after ourselves, looking after our own minds. Nothing is more harmful than one's distracted, scattered, untrained mind. And nothing is more helpful than a trained mind, a collected mind. So that's what we're doing here today. I see some new faces, so hello to you all. So what we're trying to do here is approach meditation practice not as something that you have to do. Like with all of our other duties and responsibilities, things we have to do. Meditation is actually about being. Just allowing the experience, this experience, whatever the experience is, just to be there, for you to notice the body, the breath, your posture, the mind, the thoughts that come and go, the thoughts that push and pull you in different directions. So we're here to get more familiar with the quality. Well, first of all, we're here to actually get clear about what is the mind. And then learning how to collect the mind in a natural way, in an embodied way, rather than something that you have to focus on. So that's how we approach our practice here. So if you're sitting comfortably, you can take a posture, however you feel comfortable. If you need to sit in a chair, however you're comfortable. And we just make sure that our back is, again, comfortable, but a bit straight and upright. The posture is actually very important. When the posture is too loose and slumped and let's say in a more lethargic posture, that has a direct impact on the quality of the mind. So that's why we take a posture that gives us or sets up the conditions for being relaxed, but also being attentive. So if we do that now, if we take a comfortable posture, and just relax. Don't feel you actually need to do anything right now. Maybe take a few deep breaths in and out. And just feel yourself relaxing into the body. I'd like you to notice if there's any tension, any tightness in your face. So bring your attention to the forehead. Do you notice any tension there, any tightness? And if so, just be with the breath and just relax that tension. Is there any tension in your jaw area? Are you clenching the teeth or the tongue? Just let that all relax. And breathe. And you might bring your attention then to the neck and the shoulders. Do you notice any tension or tightness? Just allow that tightness to drop. Relax the neck, relax the shoulders. Breathe. Just allow your attention to move maybe to the front of the neck and the chest. You notice any tension or tightness there. And just be with your breath, the in-breath and out-breath. And just relax. Experience the peace, the calmness of just being with this present, this living present moment. There's nothing you need to do. There's nowhere you need to be. Just be here, mindful of the body. And keep moving your attention maybe down to the lower back. To the abdomen. Then to the lower parts of the body, to the legs. What do you notice there? Move your attention all the way down to the lower legs, to the feet. Now, turn your attention to the breathing. The in-breath and the out-breath. Natural breath. Is it long? Is it short? Is it calm or is it a bit agitated? Is it hard? Is it soft? And just relax into the natural breathing. Just allow any thoughts that arise. Just allow those thoughts to come and go. You are not the thoughts. Just phenomena. Images, pictures, memories. Just allow them to arise and allow them to pass away. And relax back into the breathing. And don't fix your attention on the breathing. There should be no tension, no tightness. Mindful of the breathing without fixing your attention on the breathing. The quality of the mind is calm, open, peaceful. Dukkha, dukkha, suffering. Suffering arises when we try to control things. Meditation is about letting go. And understanding that letting go that stepping back is the path to peace. Understanding that a wholesome quality of mind, kusala citta, is a mind free from craving, desire, wanting, a mind free from resistance, aversion, annoyance, irritability. And a mind free from doubt. Doubt about suffering, the cause of suffering, and the way that leads to the path of peace. And bring your attention back to the breathing again. In breath and out breath. Are called kaya sankhara. bound up with the body. So notice that the in-breath and out-breath, as you just mindfully be aware of the breathing, feel the whole body. Sabbakaya, the whole body. Just find yourself relaxing, How do you feel right now? What's the quality of the mind right now? Is it relaxed, open, or maybe it's not? Whatever the quality of the mind, one understands this is the quality of the mind. Whatever the quality of the mind, it's of the same nature. It's impermanent. Understanding that things have the nature to arise, things have the nature to cease. One's body, feeling, mind, thoughts, all that has the nature to appear and cease. So there's nothing to hold on to, there's nothing to grasp. Just be mindful. The moment we start grasping and holding is when there's tension. This is suffering, dukkha. So right now, do you notice any tension anywhere in the body? Once again, if you find the mind becoming distracted, that's what the mind is doing. Don't feel annoyed or upset or I'm not doing the meditation properly. We're not trying to do anything. But just be mindful of this experience. And seeing where the tension is. What is that tension? Not accepting this moment as it is. Just relax, mindful of the breathing. If you're uncomfortable, if there's any pain in the legs or the back, you might just be with that for a period of time, but you can move if you need to. mindfulness of the body is also to be mindful of the 6 senses: the ear, the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. So although the mindfulness of breathing is the anchor, without fixing your attention on anything, you notice sounds coming and going. Maybe smells. And especially sitting like this for half an hour, the body. Just allow your awareness to be broad, but not distracted. So once again, you're in a good place, and this is a good opportunity to get familiar with your own mind. So we be kind to ourselves. If we're kind to ourselves, we're kind to others. So we can finish our first session together. You can open your eyes, relax, and we can take a break just for a few minutes. So maybe just before we take a break, that was a slightly longer session. as I was sitting, I had mosquitoes flying around me, I had flies going all over me, but trying to develop that quality of practice of not fixing your attention on any one thing. Because the minute you do that, it's very easy to get irritated and upset when things are not going your way. So that's why this broader awareness that I'm trying to describe, that I hope you're starting to at least appreciate and experience, is more a stepping back. It's more of it's very easy to focus on things, but when we focus on things, we overlook maybe like, what is the quality of the mind right now? So I'm trying to focus and fix my attention on this one thing, maybe with a mind full of craving, or a mind full of dosa, aversion. So approaching meditation really not as something you do, but more of something you develop. And what do you develop? What I call this reflexive, this stepping back and actually just allowing things to be there. So it's an interesting thing that actually being mindful of the breathing, not as a fixed meditation object, but as more like an anchor. So you can actually be mindful of the breathing while picking up and noticing other things, but you have the breathing as the anchor. So hearing a sound, or maybe a pain somewhere, or whatever it might be, but you're not so easily pushed and pulled. So anyway, that's sort of the quality that I'm trying to describe. But I just wonder, just in that morning session that we just had together, what was your experience? What did you find your mind doing? Maybe there's a good question to ask. Yeah. So when you say wandering, maybe without going into the detail, but what did you find it wandering to? Yeah. So thoughts of things you have to do. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Same. Yeah. Okay.
How do you, so in terms of when you're seated and when you feel that there's some kind of pain or an itching sensation,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little difficult to not react.
Yes.
Or to not move.
Yeah.
So how do you do you observe the pain, or do you observe the itching, or how do you stop yourself from not letting that distract?
Yes.
With the sati?
Well, the first thing is to just to notice the movement of the mind. That's the first thing to notice. You notice that the mind is being pushed or pulled in a particular direction. So we don't go to extremes. I know meditators who have been meditating many, many years, and they have very bad problems with their knees because they're forcing themselves to take these postures. So sitting in a chair is, there's no rule that you have to sit down cross-legged. It's just in this society and in this part of the world, we're very used to sitting on the floor cross-legged. So that's the thing, is first you take a comfortable posture. But don't have this attitude that I must sit here for this session and not move. Because that there's that you feel defeated. Like if you move, it's like, oh, I sort of haven't achieved something, or there's that there can be that tendency in the mind.
Like the Goenka style, there used to be sessions.
That's right. Not just in that tradition, there are other traditions also in Myanmar that really are quite intense, let's say, like very hard breathing and really like breathing hard through the pain. So we don't see that in the Buddha's teaching. So that's the first thing, is notice the movement of the mind. And probably good at the beginning, or not beginning, even after some experience, if you can just be with that, with itching or pain or whatever it is, if you can actually just develop some strength of the mind towards it, at least for a period of time, you just notice it. But more importantly is notice what your mind is doing in the face of it. That's the really important thing, because you find when there's a pain in the leg, so it might start as a small thing. Exactly, and then you just find your attention's going there. So notice that's a very, by doing that, by noticing that, you're actually getting more familiar with the mind. We're not training the body like in the gym. We're training the mind. So that's what I would say first, is if you can be with it at least for 1 minute or 2 minutes, just be with it and just notice the tension, notice the attitude towards it. And then it may be that actually it subsides. In doing that, you actually notice that the reason it's increasing is because the Buddha talks about these 2 arrows. There's the first arrow, which is the arrow of, let's say, physical pain in this example. But then there's a second arrow, a second dart, which is all your annoyance and irritation and whatever else it might be in the face of that. So it's like you get hit twice. So being with it for a period of time, you might notice that actually just relaxing, trying to just relax, bring your mindfulness back to the breathing and to the body, you might notice that actually it subsides, it becomes less. So that's the first thing to notice, that it might be increasing, not because actually of the physical pain, but it's because of your attitude towards it. So you can notice that. But then, if you don't find it subsiding, if you find it increasing, then change your posture. Just change your posture without feeling that you've lost. Yeah. And it's the same with the itching. As I said in the session, there was a mosquito, and I, went like this a few times, and then I just, allowed the mosquito to do its thing. Does anybody else, I'd just like to hear, usually what I find, especially with Sri Lankans, is that you already have so much experience. You know, you've grown up, you know, hearing all these things and learning all these things, and here's a foreigner sat here describing something. So I'm just interested to hear what you found happened. So we had a few comments here that actually you found thoughts. You found you were getting distracted with, basically with the householder, all thoughts bound up with the lay life, with the householder life. And then we had here, which is another thing that you might get, that might become the focus of your experience, is the body. There might be some pain on the body or something like that. What about you, Mahathir? What was your experience?
The mind was going sometimes fully focused. It was wandering.
So when you say the mind was wandering, what was it wandering? What was that wandering related to?
I'd say absurd things.
Absent things.
Absurd things.
Oh, absurd things. You are not alone. This is one really important aspect of the Buddha's teaching. There is an idea that correct meditation practice should be about getting rid of thoughts. Yeah, that if there are thoughts, then maybe it's not. It's seen as not good meditation practice. Meditation practice should be, complete, collectedness and stillness, and there's nothing. There's just like pure nothingness or something like this. But actually, that's not what the Buddha teaches. Buddha teaches first to recognize first the type of thoughts that you're having. Yeah, so the problem is not thinking. That's not the problem. The problem is what you're thinking about, or the types of thoughts. So that's the first thing, is to recognize the type of thoughts that are going on, like you said, absurd things, and then just ask yourself the question, am I feeding the thought? Am I rolling in the thought? So you're thinking, and then you find yourself proliferating. Exactly. That proliferation is all actually a proliferation of me and mine and what I want and what I don't want, and that's the proliferation. So that's the first thing, is that even the Buddha's path to awakening, he describes this. What was he doing leading to his awakening? Well, he noticed these types of thoughts of all thoughts bound up with sensuality, which basically means gains, possessions, families, wives, sons, daughters, houses, cars, clothes, jobs, however you can describe that, all thoughts bound up with that. So thoughts of sensuality. Then thoughts of harm, or ill will, thoughts of ill will, and then thoughts of harm. So he recognized that these types of thoughts, they're really not beneficial. They're not beneficial. So that's the first thing. We have to develop understanding that these types of thoughts are not beneficial. But then there are other types of thoughts, which he says, so thoughts of giving, thoughts of sharing, thoughts that are not bound up with gaining things. It's actually thoughts of what are commonly called nekkhamma, but renunciation. But not renunciation as in the householder going into monastic life. That's not what the word nekkhamma means there. It means, as I was trying to describe in the experience, when you notice a thought and you notice the tension or you becoming drawn into the thought, yeah, that's going in that direction of craving, papancha. But then relaxing, actually seeing that tension and relaxing, is going in the direction of nekkhamma, which is basically giving up, letting go, relaxing. And then thoughts of non-ill will and non-harm. So the Buddha actually recognized that these types of thoughts are completely blameless. I could think about these types of thoughts for a day, for a night and a day, and there would be nothing blameworthy. But then he noticed, but even these wholesome thoughts, these good thoughts, thoughts of sharing, thoughts of, thoughts of peace, he noticed that even if I excessively think about these things, my body becomes tired. He actually uses the word body, so that shows the direct relationship between thinking and the body. That actually thinking is almost like the mind is bound up with the body. My body becomes tired. When the body is tired, the mind is far from collectedness. So what if I were also to not pay attention to those types of thoughts? And then that's when you get this, what he calls just mindfulness. Like you can sit under a tree with your back and just relax and just allow the experience to be as it is. So that's an important thing, is we're not trying to get rid of thought. The first thing is to notice the types of thoughts and then see these thoughts are actually not helpful, but these thoughts are helpful. So, what about you at the back there? Sorry.
I realized first, when we do something, it's easy to focus. But when you sit and try to focus, the mind is all over the world actually.
Yeah.
It goes
Yes.
to the end of the world.
And it's almost like that trying to focus actually shakes things up more.
Yes, it's more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, I have to follow. What's the difference between these thoughts that come and then, like you said, there's harm, or ill will, or jealousy, or what have you, and an actual trait, a character trait. So perhaps you may have some kind of jealousy or ill will towards something, or that the other person has something more than you or something better than you. And as a result, those are the thoughts that also pop up when you focus. So how do you differentiate that, and how do you reduce that?
Well, the first thing to just, because for many people, this ability to stop and just reflect is just not there. There's just, acting out of, as you said, craving, aversion, jealousy, whatever it is, it's just the acting out of it. So the Buddha talks about the mind, this word chitta, as a wild beast. And it's like you were describing, you're trying to tame the wild beast, and you tie a rope around it, and you go like this, and the beast is thrashing around, and it's very, very difficult to control. So he talks about the mind like this, as a wild beast, a wild animal. And how you train that wild animal, the Buddha talks about what one frequently thinks about and ruminates over, that becomes the inclination of the mind. So why am I always experiencing things in this way? Why am I always getting angry? Why am I always saying this harsh word? Well, it's because it's become a habit. So that is the inclination of the mind. The mind, as a wild beast, will just do what it wants to do. It will do what it's familiar doing. So that's why he says training the mind, it's like the hardest thing you can do. But that is the thing to do. It's the hardest thing, but that's the Buddha's training. So if one frequently thinks about or ponders on or gets caught up in these types of thoughts, just naturally the mind is always going to go in that direction. So that's why at least you try to incline the mind. You at least try to recognize those thoughts they're not helpful for me and they're not helpful for other people. So you just always try and incline the mind. So like, as you said, like jealousy, for example, they've got something that I don't have, or they've got something that I should have. I deserve that more than them. So you notice the mind doing that. But you can just look at all the things I do have. Actually, I have, living in a good country, and I have things around me, and so there's a way of just inclining the mind. And then once you start doing that, once you start inclining the mind in that direction, that starts to become the habit pattern in a wholesome way. But it takes time. So first of all, it's to recognize that those are the types of thoughts. That's just, you notice these types of thoughts. But develop understanding, those thoughts are not beneficial. I should at least try and incline the mind in a different direction. Does that make sense? I mean, it's easier said than done, but it's at least, that recognizing, and the mind as a wild beast, as like an entity, it starts to become more familiar with a different type of thinking. So that's what I would say, yeah. So this is the second part of this morning. We have opportunity to sit together for maybe about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes. So during the break, Ranga and I were talking about dukkha. So we know dukkha as it's described in the Buddha's teaching. In brief, sankittena panch upadana kanda dukkha. So this is, in brief, if you just sum everything up of what dukkha is, it's this upadana. So what is that upadana? What does that word mean? I'm sure you've heard it many, many times. upadana. Do you know how we translate that word? You could probably translate it into Sinhala. How do you translate that word into Sinhala? Upadana. So upadana is commonly translated as attachment. Attachment or clinging. Clinging is another English word. Well, yes, you could say in another way, it's craving. But the word upadana, it's upa-adana. So dana, what does dana mean? To give. So what does adana mean? To take. And the prefix upa means towards. So the translation of upadana would be something like taking towards or taking up. So one English word that we can use to understand upadana is this word appropriation, or to misappropriate, or to assume. What do we assume? That this is me, that this is mine. This body, this pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, or neutral feeling. This sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, thought, all of that is me, or for me, or mine. All these perceptions that we have. And that movement of the mind, either to want something, or to want to get away from something, or to distract oneself, that movement of the mind is also taken to be me, mine. And then consciousness. Yeah, consciousness. What is consciousness? The fact of being alive. Yeah, consciousness in the Abhidhamma is described in different ways, but one of the ways it's called bhavanga. Bhava anga means a factor of life. So even in the Buddha's teaching, being alive, being conscious of things, of cognizing things, is also taken to be something that's permanent, something that's mine. So that upadana is felt bodily. Anytime there's tension, anytime that you find yourself getting annoyed or upset or agitated, that's dukkha, because that's founded upon, that's to do with me, what I want and what I don't want. That's dukkha, essentially. So that's why I'm trying to describe these things in our sessions together, is even while we're sitting here together, we just notice what the mind is doing. What is the attitude of the mind towards what's going on in the body? Maybe you're hearing a sound, the fan, or some noise outside. Are you finding the mind, becoming absorbed in that? So that's what we're doing, trying to do together, or what I'm trying to articulate to you is this way of developing mindfulness, where it's not about becoming absorbed in things. It's actually more about a stepping back and getting more familiar with what are you doing and why are you doing it. What's the quality of your mind right now? Yeah. So we can, maybe for about 20 minutes or so we can sit together. So once again, just take a comfortable posture, however you are. And for this 20 minutes or so, what we're trying to do is to recognize dukkha, to understand dukkha. In this lived experience, bound up related to these 5 aggregates: the body, the feeling, the things that the perceptions of things that one experiences, our attitude towards these things, and the knowing of these things. Dukkha arises when we want things to be different from how they are now. So this is key in the Buddha's teaching. Recognize dukkha in your experience. Recognize the quality of the mind that's full of suffering. We're trying to develop wholesome qualities of mind. A mind free from desire, wanting for something or wanting to get away from something. A relaxed mind, an openness of mind, collected mind, peaceful mind. So right now, there's nothing you need to do. There's nowhere you need to be. You are here right now with this experience. Just be mindful of the body, mindful of the breathing, step back. Don't engage in the thoughts. Notice the difference between a calm, collected, tranquil mind and a mind that's distracted. So meditation practice doesn't need to be just sat on a cushion with your eyes closed. Meditation is actually bhavana, which means to cultivate or develop. That means all the time. It's about developing and cultivating your mind. You can't develop your mind unless you know what the mind is. So this is why the Buddha talks about citta nimitta. They're called the signs and features of your mind. So when you notice the mind being pushed and pulled in different directions, notice why that's happening. And again, just bring your, if you remember, mindfulness is also about remembering. Remember where that tension is, and remember to try and feel that tension, because you'll notice it. It will be in the body, a tightness, a tension, maybe in the head. That's the dukkha. That's the dukkha. It's whenever there's grasping, holding, identification. So that's what we've been trying to do today, and yeah, we'll continue to do. I hope to see you again next time. Yeah. Thank you everyone. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.